Welcome to From Manuscript to Ministry, created and produced by Elder William Moore, the podcast where faith meets the written word. Each week, your hosts David and Martha dive into powerful, self-published books by Christian authors who are boldly using their God-given voices to impact the kingdom. Whether you're an aspiring writer, a reader seeking spiritual growth, or a ministry leader in search of authentic resources, this is your space to be inspired, encouraged, and equipped. Let's explore today's featured book and uncover the life-changing message behind the manuscript.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. I am genuinely excited to share this deep dive with you today as we unpack some really profound wisdom for living a life of, genuine impact and peace. We're zeroing in on specific insights from chapters 9 and 10 of Proverbs 31, Empowering Quotes for Everyday Motivation by William Moore. And our mission, it isn't just to review the chapters.
Wait, it's more than that.
Right. It's to really extract those, surprising nuggets of knowledge. What does it truly mean to live a life so rich in wisdom, kindness, and service that it doesn't just, strive, but it naturally flourishes?
That natural flourishing.
And just as crucially, how does that kind of life also cultivate an unwavering, a truly fearless faith?
It's a powerful combination.
It really is. And the fascinating thread running through all of this, the core theme we'll keep coming back to, is this. It's not simply about trying harder, or this relentless effort.
Which is what we often think, right? Just push harder.
Exactly. But Moore suggests it's a beautiful, profound reminder that your journey, your very existence, is intimately, profoundly about fruit.
Fruit.
Yeah. What you produce, what you nurture, the enduring legacy you build. It's a concept that, honestly, it challenges a lot of our modern ideas about success.
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
Pushes back against that hustle culture idea.
So let's begin. Let's transition into chapter 9, where William Moore lays out this foundational declaration. It immediately grabs your attention.
Okay.
He opens with this powerful statement. The virtuous woman's life is fruitful because it's rooted in wisdom, discipline, and purpose. Right there. Boom.
Wisdom, discipline, purpose, the big three.
He immediately spotlights these three foundational elements, and it really makes you pause, doesn't it? And consider, what do these three pillars truly signify for a life that genuinely flourishes? Why these three? Why are they so absolutely critical?
Well, I think a key insight here, right off the bat, is that concept of being rooted.
Rooted.
When we talk about something being rooted, we're not just, giving a literal definition. We're immediately contrasting it with everything that's superficial, temporary, easily swayed.
Things without depth.
Exactly. Think about it. Our modern world often celebrates the visible hustle, right? The frenetic activity, the constant movement. But true strength, like a mighty oak tree, it often appears still from the surface.
You don't see the roots working.
Precisely. The real work, the true growth that's happening underneath, unseen. We're conditioned to admire the visible, the immediate win, but true strength often lies in what's deeply embedded. Without those roots, there's just no stability, no consistent nourishment, just, a fragile existence, easily toppled by the slightest storm.
That makes perfect sense.
And if we then analyze the why behind this rootedness, we can see a really clear and profound interconnectedness among Moore's three pillars.
Okay, break that down. How do they connect?
Well, first, how does wisdom inform purpose? Wisdom, it provides the clarity, the discernment to understand what is truly meaningful and valuable to pursue.
Not just what looks good right now.
Exactly. In a world saturated with fleeting trends, endless distractions, countless options, wisdom is the compass. It helps you identify a purpose that aligns with deeper, timeless truths, rather than just chasing the next shiny object or, external validation.
Yeah, seeking likes instead of legacy.
Right. It's the difference between building a sandcastle, which looks impressive for a moment, and building a cathedral, which endures.
Okay, so wisdom guides the purpose. What about discipline?
Discipline. How does discipline enable the consistent pursuit of that purpose? Discipline is the practical commitment. It's the consistent, often unglamorous daily action that translates a wise purpose into a tangible reality.
The day in, day out grind.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's not about being a robot, though. It's about making deliberate choices, showing up, doing the work, even when, frankly, motivation wanes, which always does.
Right.
Think about the neuroscience behind habit formation consistency. Even in small steps, it builds those neural pathways. It makes purposeful action feel more natural over time. Discipline is the daily tending to those roots, ensuring they grow deeper and stronger, giving your purpose the sustenance it needs to actually live.
That's a powerful way to frame it. It's so true. Many of us chase what looks good, what's popular, without really pausing to ask if it's truly wise or aligned with a deeper purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And then even if we find that purpose, the sheer discipline required, wow, it can feel overwhelming.
It really can.
So what happens then if these roots are just absent? What if wisdom or discipline or purpose are missing from someone's life? What does that look like?
Well, if we speculate for a moment on the absence of these roots, the implications are quite significant. And frankly, it's a common struggle in our modern, often fragmented lives.
You see it everywhere.
You do. Without wisdom, your efforts, no matter how earnest or how hard you work, they might be misdirected. You might pour your energy into things that ultimately lead to frustration, regret, or just a hollow sense of achievement, like trying to build that house without a blueprint.
Spinning your wheels.
Exactly. And without discipline, even the noblest purpose, the grandest vision, it can remain just a beautiful dream, unfulfilled due to inconsistency, a lack of sustained effort. You know what you should do, but you just can't seem to consistently do it.
The intention is there, but not the action.
Precisely. And crucially, without purpose, life can feel adrift, reactive rather than proactive. You might find yourself constantly chasing external validations, likes, promotions, fleeting pleasures, instead of building internal meaning and lasting contribution.
Just bouncing from one thing to the next.
Yeah. Such a life often manifests as easily buffeted by circumstances, prone to burnout from all that misdirected energy, and ultimately unable to produce the kind of lasting, positive impact we all inherently desire deep down. It's not just a theoretical concept. It's often the root cause of so much anxiety and existential angst in contemporary society.
That's such a clear, almost stark distinction, the difference between being truly rooted and merely existing, or worse, just drifting aimlessly. Moore takes this idea even further with a really powerful and elegant analogy. He invites us to visualize this fruitful life.
The tree analogy, it's great.
It really is. He says, think about a tree. It doesn't strive to bear fruit. It simply abides in good soil, receives light, and produces in due season.
Abides, not strives.
Exactly. He continues, that's the virtuous woman's rhythm. She's not frantic, she's faithful. She's not trying to impress, she's planted to impact. Wow, that analogy immediately brings to mind that profound distinction between striving and abiding.
It does.
Striving often feels like that constant, often exhausting effort, right? A pushing against resistance, a desperate attempt to force an outcome. Abiding, though, it suggests a state of being, a natural progression within a supportive, life-giving environment. There's almost a quiet confidence to it.
This analogy is absolutely brilliant. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, you're right. It truly challenges so many of our modern sensibilities head on.
How so?
Well, our society often prioritizes frenetic activity, doesn't it? The hustle culture, the visible effort over patient, consistent, often unseen growth. We're conditioned to believe that if we're not constantly busy, constantly striving, constantly doing, we're not productive, or worse, not successful.
Busy equals important.
Right. We see the highly visible, sometimes superficial efforts celebrated. But the tree analogy completely flips that script. It suggests that true, enduring fruitfulness comes not from frantic striving, but from a settled, intentional abiding. It's the quiet power of consistency over the loud clamor of urgency.
Okay, so let's dig into that good soil and receives light part of the analogy. How do those metaphorical elements translate into practical life choices for you, the listener?
Great question. Good soil. It could represent your chosen environment, and that's multi-layered. It's the people you surround yourself with. Are they supportive? Do they challenge you to grow? Or are they, draining?
Energy vampires.
Totally. It's the communities you engage in, professional, spiritual, social. Do they foster your best self? It's even the information you consume, the books you read, the podcasts you listen to, the ideas you entertain.
Will you feed your mind?
Exactly. Are these environments supportive and nourishing, allowing your intellectual, emotional, and spiritual roots to deepen? Or are they toxic and eroding? Choosing your soil wisely is an active, ongoing process. It's not passive.
That makes sense. And the light.
And receives light, that speaks to the sources of truth and inspiration you allow into your life. This could be through dedicated reflective practices like meditation or prayer. It could be engaging with spiritual texts or profound philosophy, or simply taking time for introspection, for learning, for seeking beauty.
Being intentional about inspiration.
It's about being open and receptive to positive, growth-oriented influences that genuinely fuel your inner world. It's about consciously feeding your mind and spirit, recognizing that just as a tree needs sunlight to photosynthesize, You need illumination to thrive. You need truth. You need goodness.
Okay, so good soil, good light. That leads to the next distinction Moore makes. Frantic versus faithful.
Yes, this leads directly to the core difference between being frantic versus faithful, and that other pair, trying to impress versus planted to impact.
Tell us more about that.
A frantic life is often driven by external pressures, wouldn't you say? A need for approval, a fear of missing out, the relentless pursuit of societal benchmarks. It's about performance for an audience.
Keeping up appearances.
Exactly. A faithful life, however, is guided by an internal conviction, a quiet trust in a process and a purpose that extends beyond immediate visible outcomes. It's about being true to a deeper calling, even when no one is watching.
Integrity, really?
Very much so. And similarly, trying to impress suggests that outward focus, a performance designed for external validation, look at me, but being planted to impact implies a deeper, more intrinsic motivation. It's about the inherent value of what you offer, the authenticity of your contribution, regardless of who sees it or applauds it. This internal locus of control, this internal motivation is key. It's about operating from a place of peace, conviction, and deep purpose, not from a reactive need for external applause or recognition. The fruit, when it comes, is a natural outflow, not some forced production.
That distinction between internal and external motivation is absolutely crucial, and it's one we often wrestle with, I think, in a world so geared toward public displays. Which brings us to a pivotal quote. Moore highlights about the nature of this fruit. He says, "Her fruit is visible, not in flashy displays, but in lasting impact."
Ooh, that's good. Lasting impact.
Right. It immediately begs the question, what might those flashy displays actually look like in contrast to lasting impact? I mean, flashy displays are often immediate, right? Attention-grabbing, maybe even superficial.
Viral moments, quick likes.
Exactly. Things that get immediate applause but maybe don't stick. They're often about momentary recognition. Lasting impact, though, that runs deeper. It's the kind of fruit that continues to nourish, to influence, to resonate long after the initial action has passed. It creates a ripple effect that builds rather than just shines for a second.
And this raises such an important question for all of us today. How do we often misinterpret or, frankly, tragically undervalue lasting impact in a world that so heavily rewards immediate, visible results?
It's a constant pressure.
It is. We live in an age where metrics, analytics, instant feedback reign supreme. We're constantly checking our phones for notifications, looking for quick wins, viral moments, measurable outputs. This conditioning makes it incredibly difficult to appreciate the slow, steady, and often invisible work that leads to truly profound impact. We confuse activity with accomplishment and noise with substance.
That's a great way to put it, noise versus substance.
But true, profound impact. It really comes in flashy packages. It's often quiet, consistent, and cumulative. Let's delve into the specific examples of this fruit that Moore mentions, because they truly illustrate this point with a remarkable clarity.
Okay, let's hear them.
First, he talks about peace in her home. Now, this isn't just the absence of shouting or conflict that's kind of a reactive peace.
Like a ceasefire.
Exactly. This is a diligently cultivated atmosphere of harmony, understanding, and emotional security. Practically, this means making intentional choices every single day.
Like what?
Like actively listening to family members, not just waiting to talk. Practicing forgiveness, which is often more for yourself than the other person, right? Setting healthy boundaries. Prioritizing genuine connection over just, efficiency. Creating routines that foster stability and predictability.
Real effort.
Absolutely. This kind of peace is actively produced through the daily application of wisdom, knowing when to speak and when to be silent, understanding what truly matters in a relationship, discerning the root of conflict, and through discipline, consistently choosing patience, kindness, empathy, self-control, even when you're exhausted or challenged.
Especially when you're challenged.
Right. It's an internal order that creates an external sanctuary, and its impact on everyone within that home. It's immeasurable and long-lasting. It's a foundational ecosystem for flourishing.
Okay, peace in the home. What's next?
Then there are the prayers she prays over her children. This is an incredibly powerful example of intangible but profound impact.
Intangible, yeah. Hard to measure.
Totally. These are unseen acts, not for public display, not to garner praise, but for deep spiritual nurture and intercession. The lasting legacy here isn't something you can put on a resume or show off on social media.
No legs for prayers.
Exactly. It's woven into the very fabric of her children's lives, influencing their character, their resilience, their moral compass, their faith journey over decades, possibly even generations. These consistent, intentional acts of spiritual stewardship contribute to a legacy that extends far beyond her own lifetime, shaping the internal landscape of those she loves. It's a silent investment with exponential returns.
Wow. That's powerful. Okay, third example.
And finally, Moore highlights the integrity she brings to her workplace. Again, this is far more than just simple honesty like not stealing pens.
You're right, it's bigger than that.
Much bigger. Integrity encompasses ethical behavior in all dealings, even when it's difficult or unpopular. It's about reliability in commitments, doing what you say you'll do consistently. It's about consistency in character, being the same person in public and private. And it's about a positive influence that transcends mere job descriptions.
Being dependable, trustworthy.
Exactly. It's about doing the right thing even when no one is watching. Being a person whose word is their bond. This kind of integrity builds deep trust, it fosters a healthy work environment, and it can subtly, yet powerfully, influence colleagues, clients, the entire organizational culture. It's not about being the loudest or the flashiest person in the room.
No.
But about being consistently good, fair, and dependable. It's a silent force multiplier in any professional setting.
A force multiplier. I like that.
And what's crucial here across all these examples is recognizing that they are not about grand gestures or one-off heroic acts.
Not saving the day once.
No. They're about consistent, intentional choices that build over time, like the steady incremental growth of a magnificent tree. Each small act of wisdom, each moment of discipline, each choice driven by purpose, it contributes to this robust, enduring fruitfulness. It's a profound lesson in the power of the cumulative.
That's such a clear and compelling picture of how those daily, often unseen choices stack up. They create something truly impactful, deeply meaningful, and it brings us directly to a point of personal reflection, doesn't it? So what does this all mean for you, our listener? Moore himself prompts us to ask, what kind of fruit is your life producing today? It's a question that cuts straight to the chase, really.
It does. No hiding from that one.
He then poses some direct, probing questions for you to consider. Are you sowing wisdom? Are you cultivating joy? Are you speaking life and building legacy? Heavy questions.
They are. And let's truly expand on these reflective questions because they're not just rhetorical. They're invitations to a genuine, perhaps even uncomfortable self-assessment.
Okay, let's break them down. Sowing wisdom.
What does sowing wisdom practically look like in your daily interactions or decision-making? Well, it could mean taking that extra second to pause and reflect before reacting impulsively. We all do that sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
It might involve offering thoughtful, well-considered advice, but only when asked, sharing hard-won lessons with humility rather than lecturing. Or it could be simply making choices that prioritize long-term well-being and ethical considerations over short-term gratification or ease. It's about making decisions that reflect sound judgment and a deep understanding of principles, not just immediate desires or convenience.
Okay, makes sense. How about cultivating joy? That sounds nice, but how do you do it?
Right. How does one cultivate joy amidst the inevitable challenges and often mundane routines of life? This isn't about ignoring difficulties or, putting on a happy face all the time, pretending everything is perfect.
Toxic positivity.
Exactly. Instead, it's about intentionally fostering an internal state of contentment and gratitude. It could involve practicing mindfulness to appreciate the present moment, actively seeking out beauty in your surroundings, maybe on your walk to work, engaging in activities that genuinely uplift your spirit, or choosing to focus on blessings even when circumstances are tough. Joy, much like a garden, needs active tending. You nurture positive emotions and guard against the weeds of negativity, bitterness, or cynicism. It's an active, conscious, and often courageous act.
Courageous, yeah. Choosing joy takes strength sometimes.
Okay, the last one. Speaking life and building legacy.
And finally, what specific actions constitute speaking life, and how does that contribute to building legacy from you? Speaking life means using your words intentionally. To encourage, to uplift, to inspire hope, to affirm others' inherent worth, and to share truth in a loving, constructive way.
Words have power, immense power. It means consciously avoiding gossip, harsh criticism, negativity, things that can tear down individuals and relationships. When you consistently speak life, you create an atmosphere of positivity, trust, and growth around you. And this isn't just about your immediate interactions. It creates that powerful ripple effect we talked about. This consistent positive influence, this intentional sowing of good into others through your words, this is precisely how you build a lasting legacy, a positive mark left on the world and, more importantly, in the hearts and minds of those you encounter. It's really an invitation to an honest self-assessment of your current harvest. What is genuinely growing from the seeds you are sowing with your words and actions every single day?
That's a truly profound call to examine our daily contributions, whether they feel big or small, and recognize their cumulative power. Okay, now, having explored this fruitful life, let's shift our focus. Let's go to chapter 10, which offers a powerful and necessary pivot in perspective.
Okay, chapter 10.
The phrase Moore uses is this. Chapter 10 flips the lens from what she does to how she lives. This chapter isn't just about her actions, it's about the underlying state of her being, her spirit, her internal world. And the central theme here is incredibly impactful. She is not afraid of the future.
Ah, fearlessness. That's huge.
It is.
And what's truly fascinating here is the direct, almost inevitable link between her fruitfulness in chapter 9 and her fearlessness in chapter 10.
They're connected.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's not a coincidence. It's a profound consequence. How does a life rooted in purpose, wisdom, and discipline, a life that is consistently producing lasting impact, naturally lead to a reduction in fear?
How?
Well, when you are confident in your grounding, when you are faithfully sowing good seeds and witnessing the positive, tangible fruit of those actions, there's a deep internal sense of security that begins to develop. You're not relying on fleeting circumstances or the whims of fortune. You're building on something substantial and proven.
You see it working.
Exactly. Each piece of fruit is a testament, a building block of confidence that anchors you against future uncertainties. You're not just hoping for the best, you're actively building towards it. Your actions create evidence for your faith.
Okay, so the fruitfulness builds the confidence.
Moore explains the why behind her fearlessness, stating, because her faith isn't seasonal, it's secure. And this is such a critical distinction. It really differentiates resilient living from reactive living.
Seasonal versus secure. Explain that.
Seasonal faith is often dependent on external circumstances. It flourishes when things are going well, when life is abundant, but it withers quickly when challenges arise, when the weather turns bad.
Fair weather faith?
Precisely. Like a plant with shallow roots that thrives only in perfect conditions. Secure faith, on the other hand, is anchored in something unchangeable, something beyond the immediate forecast. It's a foundational conviction that persists regardless of the storms. It's not swayed by the immediate news cycle or the current crisis, because it's rooted in something eternal, constant, and trustworthy. This security comes from a deep, abiding trust that transcends current events, providing an internal compass no matter how cloudy the skies become.
That distinction between seasonal and secure faith resonates so deeply, doesn't it? It challenges us to examine the very foundations of our own confidence, our own trust. And this leads us to another powerful insight from Moore. He says, fear fades in the presence of preparation and prayer.
Preparation and prayer, the two pillars against fear.
Yes. This gives us two clear, actionable components that directly counteract fear. They work in tandem, he suggests, not in isolation, creating a robust defense against anxiety.
Okay, let's truly analyze preparation in this context, because it's far more nuanced than just, having a plan.
Right. What kind of preparation?
What kind is implied here? I think it's multifaceted, it's holistic. It certainly involves strategic planning and foresight thinking ahead, anticipating potential challenges, assessing risks, making wise choices with your resources, time, energy.
Practical stuff.
Yes, practical stuff. But it also encompasses skill development and mental fortitude, continually learning new things, adapting to changing circumstances, cultivating a resilient mindset through intentional practice. And critically, it involves spiritual and ethical readiness, clarity about your values, and an unwavering commitment to them, no matter the pressure.
Okay, so how does this link back to chapter 9? To wisdom, discipline, purpose?
Great connection. How do her actions in chapter 9 contribute to this very preparation? Well, her wisdom gives her the insight to know what to prepare for and how to do it effectively. It guides her foresight.
Makes sense.
Her discipline provides the consistent effort required for effective preparation, whether it's managing finances diligently, developing her abilities through practice, or nurturing her inner strength day by day.
The follow-through.
Exactly. And her purpose gives her the unwavering motivation and direction for why she prepares. It ensures her efforts are meaningful, aligned with her values, and truly contribute to her long-term vision. This isn't about avoiding all future problems that's impossible. It's about being robustly equipped to face them with confidence when they arise.
Okay, so preparation is key. What about prayer? How does prayer counter fear?
Yeah, let's analyze prayer. How does it act as a direct counter to fear? It's far more than just, asking for things like a cosmic shopping list.
Right, not just give me this.
No, it's a profound communion with a higher power, a practice of relinquishing control over what we can't control, and cultivating profound trust. This communion builds a deep sense of security because it reminds us we are not alone, that there is a source of strength, wisdom, and guidance greater than our own limited perspective.
Shifting perspective.
Fundamentally, prayer isn't just about changing external circumstances. It's fundamentally about changing us. It strengthens our inner resolve. It shifts our perspective from immediate anxieties to eternal truths. It aligns our will with something bigger, something purposeful. And, for those who may not engage in traditional prayer, similar benefits can be found in deep meditative practices, mindfulness, or communing with nature acts that build a sense of connection, perspective, and inner peace, ultimately making that faith more secure and less seasonal.
So it's about connection and trust.
It's about moving beyond dependence on what we can control to trust in what a larger guiding force can do.
Okay. This brings us to another really illustrative quote from Moore. He says, "The virtuous woman laughs at the days to come, not because life is easy, but because her faith is strong."
That's such a fascinating paradox, isn't it? Laughing at the future.
It sounds almost flippant, but it's not.
No, it's not a naive dismissal of hardship or some delusional belief that nothing bad will ever happen. Instead, it speaks to a deep internal fortitude, a kind of audacious joy, almost.
Audacious joy. I like that.
It's a laughter born of confidence, not ignorance. She understands that life will inevitably present difficulties, challenges, even sorrows. But her secure faith provides an unshakable foundation that allows her to face those difficulties with an inner resilience, even a joyful anticipation, knowing that she is equipped, supported, and ultimately held. Her strength isn't in her ability to control the future.
No one can do that.
Right. It's in her unwavering trust in the one who holds the future and in the principles she embodies daily through her wisdom and discipline.
That's such an incredible perspective shift. It's not about pretending problems don't exist or even that they won't be painful. It's about responding to them from an entirely different place of strength and deep-seated peace. Moore further elaborates on this wisdom, emphasizing she's not paralyzed by what-ifs, she's anchored in what God said.
Ah, the what-ifs. The enemy of peace.
Totally. This highlights such a stark and critical contrast, doesn't it? On one hand, you have the paralyzing grip of hypothetical anxieties, that endless circular loop of what if this goes wrong or what if I fail?
It's exhausting.
It is. And on the other hand, you have the profound solidity of being grounded in foundational truths, in promises that are unwavering and timeless, anchored.
And this raises an important question for all of us, especially in a world that can feel so uncertain, so chaotic sometimes. How do we differentiate between healthy foresight and prudent planning, which is certainly a component of wisdom and preparation, and being paralyzed by what-ifs? Where exactly is that line?
That's a really practical question. How do you know?
Well, healthy foresight involves assessing risks, making informed decisions, and taking prudent proactive steps to mitigate potential issues. Being paralyzed by what-ifs, however, is when those thoughts become intrusive, overwhelming, and crucially stop you from taking any action whatsoever.
You just freeze.
Exactly. The distinction lies in whether these thoughts empower you to act wisely and strategically, or whether they render you immobile with fear, trapping you in a cycle of anxiety and inaction. It's the difference between navigating a storm with skill and preparation and being swept away by the idea of the storm before it even arrives.
Okay, so let's talk about the anchor. Exploring what it truly means to be anchored in what God said in a practical sense. That seems absolutely crucial, especially for a diverse audience listening.
It is. How does one identify and hold on to these anchors in a world just full of conflicting messages, transient friends, pervasive uncertainties?
Yeah.
For many, this involves regular engagement with spiritual teachings, deep reflection, intentional remembrance of core beliefs that have stood the test of time. For others, it might be aligning with universal ethical truths, a deeply held personal mission statement, or even immutable laws of nature or physics that provide a constant.
Finding your true north.
Exactly. It means actively choosing to believe in principles of hope, strength, and guidance, even when external evidence seems to contradict them. It's about cultivating a deep personal relationship with these foundational truths, whatever they are for you, that provides a constant reference point, a steadying hand amidst the waves of doubt and anxiety. This anchor isn't just a vague feeling, it's a deliberate commitment to truth that keeps you steady when everything else is shaking.
A deliberate commitment, okay.
And we can connect this ancient wisdom directly to our modern struggles. Because let's be honest, the core human experience of uncertainty, of grappling with the unknown, it hasn't fundamentally changed across millennia.
Absolutely, let's be real. Many of us, perhaps you, our listener, are facing very real uncertainty today, whether it's navigating a significant job transition,
So common now.
dealing with complex family dynamics, grappling with health concerns for yourself or a loved one, or simply feeling overwhelmed by global events. The what ifs can feel incredibly heavy, suffocating even.
And that's entirely understandable. The universality of these modern anxieties is a testament to the enduring relevance of this wisdom. The virtuous woman's approach, rooted in secure faith and diligent preparation, it offers a powerful blueprint for navigating your specific uncertainties.
A blueprint, okay.
It suggests that while we can't control every outcome, and we certainly can't stop bad things from happening entirely, we absolutely can control our response, our level of preparation, and the unwavering foundation of our faith or our core principles. By anchoring ourselves in secure truths and consistently cultivating wisdom and discipline, we build an internal resilience.
An inner strength.
Exactly. That allows us to face these challenges not with a naive optimism that ignores reality, but with a deep, quiet confidence that transcends the immediate situation. It's about having a functional compass and a sturdy vessel that works no matter how turbulent the waters become.
That's truly empowering. It's about shifting from a reactive stance, just getting tossed around, to a proactive one, deeply rooted in faith and intentional living. So I want to challenge you, the listener, right now. What would it look like in your specific life, thinking about those job changes, family dynamics, or health concerns, to walk forward with fearless faith, confident that you are prepared, anchored, and supported?
Visualize it.
Can you truly visualize that shift in perspective and action? What specific different choices would you begin to make today if that paralyzing fear was no longer holding you captive?
Okay.
We've explored fruitfulness and fearlessness as distinct concepts in chapters 9 and 10, but William Moore's ultimate message, and really our ultimate takeaway from this deep dive, is that these two powerful aspects of life are deeply, inextricably connected.
Not separate silos.
Not at all. So what does this all mean when we bring it together? Moore's ultimate takeaway is this: your fruitfulness and your fearlessness are connected.
That's profoundly true. And understanding this symbiotic relationship is really key to a truly flourishing and impactful life. Let's dive a bit deeper into how living a fruitful life, that life rooted in wisdom, discipline, purpose, consistently producing lasting impact, how that builds the very foundation for a secure and fearless faith.
How does that work?
Well, think about it. Every single time you act with wisdom, every time you apply discipline to a task, every time you serve a purpose beyond yourself, and you witness the positive, lasting fruit of those actions, it doesn't just build external results. It strengthens your internal conviction.
You believe it more because you see it.
Exactly. It's experiential proof that the principles you're living by are sound, reliable, effective. These small, consistent successes build confidence not just in your own abilities, but in the underlying truths that guide your life. This tangible evidence of fruitfulness becomes a living testament to the security of your faith. It makes it less theoretical and more deeply personal and experiential. It creates a powerful, virtuous cycle. Living well bolsters your belief that living well works.
Okay, so fruitfulness builds fearlessness. What about the other way around?
Conversely, how does having fearless faith then enable one to pursue fruitfulness with greater boldness, resilience, and impact, even when facing daunting obstacles?
Yeah, how does fearlessness fuel fruitfulness?
When you are truly fearless, when your faith is secure, you are not paralyzed by the what-ifs. You are liberated from the debilitating grip of anxiety. This freedom allows you to take wise risks, to invest fully in your purpose, to persist through inevitable setbacks, and to serve others without holding back due to fear of failure or judgment.
Fear holds us back so much.
It really does. Fear often restricts our capacity for generosity, for courage, for innovation, for love. A fearless faith liberates you from those constraints. It allows you to pour yourself into fruitful endeavors with an unshakable confidence that regardless of the immediate outcome, you are upheld, guided, and ultimately purposeful. This boldness, born of deep security, fuels even greater impact and fruitfulness.
That makes so much sense. It's like a self-reinforcing loop, isn't it? Fruitfulness builds faith. Faith fuels more fruitfulness.
Exactly.
So if someone listening right now is struggling with overwhelming fear, which path should they focus on first? Trying to be more fruitful or trying to build a fearless faith? Is there a primary driver, or do they truly have to work hand in hand from the outset?
That's an excellent, very practical question, and it really highlights the intertwined nature. While they are absolutely connected, I would argue that starting with the foundations of fruitfulness can often be a more tangible entry point for someone feeling paralyzed by fear.
Start with action.
Yeah. When you actively choose wisdom, maybe by seeking counsel or learning a new skill, and apply discipline to a small, purposeful act, and then you see even a tiny piece of positive fruit, that initial experience of impact can begin to chip away at fear. It creates a proof of concept in your own life.
The little win.
Exactly. It builds a sense of agency. That small shift, that first piece of fruit, provides the experiential fuel that then starts to build a more secure faith. It's often easier to act your way into a new way of thinking than to think your way into a new way of acting, especially when fear has taken hold. So, starting with intentional, wise action, however small, can be the spark that lights the fire.
Act your way into a new way of thinking. I like that.
Moore encapsulates this entire beautiful dynamic in two powerful summary statements from the source. They really tie it all together.
Okay, what are they?
First, stay rooted in God's truth and you will bear fruit in every season.
Every season, even the hard ones.
Precisely. This emphasizes God's truth as the unchanging bedrock. Now, for those who connect with a faith tradition, this refers to divine revelation and principles. For others listening, it might be those immutable, universal ethical truths, core personal values, or the inherent laws of nature that anchor point that transcends fleeting circumstances.
Constant.
Yes. Seasons, as we know, change dramatically. Life brings periods of abundance, but also scarcity, challenge, dormancy. But if your roots are deeply embedded in an unchanging truth, then even in the difficult seasons, you will find the deep nourishment to endure and eventually, consistently, to produce fruit. Your ability to bear fruit isn't dependent on the external weather, but on the depth of your connection to what is constant and reliable.
That's reassuring. What's the second statement?
And second, stay anchored in His promises, and you will face the future with boldness.
Anchored in promises leads to boldness.
Exactly. Here, His promises are the specific, reliable assurances that provide the courage and conviction to move forward. Again, for a diverse audience, these could be the spiritual promises of hope, strength, guidance, peace. Or they could be the steadfast assurances derived from deeply held personal commitments, ethical frameworks, or even historical patterns of resilience and progress you trust in.
Things you can count on.
Right. When you know you are promised strength through the journey, comfort in sorrow, guidance in uncertainty, the unknown future loses its power to terrify. You move with a boldness that isn't reckless or naive, but deeply secure, because your anchor is not in your own fleeting strength or limited foresight, but in the unwavering word of something far greater and more enduring. These two statements together, they just weave a complete and compelling picture of a life lived with profound purpose, peace, and unshakable confidence.
What a truly profound journey we've taken today into the insights of William Moore. We've unpacked how a life rooted deeply in wisdom, discipline, and purpose naturally bears lasting fruit, not in those flashy displays designed for momentary applause, but in the quiet, impactful transformations we see around us, in our homes, our families, our work.
The real stuff.
The real stuff. And we've also seen how that very fruitfulness, coupled with intentional preparation and prayer, cultivates an unwavering, fearless faith. A faith that allows you to genuinely, as Moore says, laugh at the days to come, especially in the face of profound uncertainty. It's a powerful, self-reinforcing connection, reinforcing that these two aspects, fruitfulness and fearlessness, are not separate pursuits at all, but intimately intertwined for a truly well-lived, deeply impactful life.
Indeed. It's a powerful synergy. And as you, our listener, reflect on this deep dive, perhaps consider this provocative thought, something to mull over long after our conversation ends.
Okay, leave us with something to think about.
In a world that so often measures success by visible displays, by likes and shares, by instant gratification and external validation, what would it look like for you to consciously redefine your life's success? To measure it not by immediate applause, but by the lasting ecosystem of peace and purpose you cultivate within your home, by the quiet integrity you bring to your work, and by the unwavering confidence that emerges from a secure, abiding faith. How might embracing this deeper, more rooted perspective not only profoundly transform your own journey, leading to a profound inner peace, but also create a powerful ripple effect, subtly and meaningfully impacting everyone around you for generations to come?
Thank you for joining us today on From Manuscript to Ministry. If today's featured book encouraged, challenged, or inspired you, we invite you to take the next step, purchase a copy, and support the author behind the message. When you invest in their work, you're not just buying a book, you're sowing into good ground and helping advance the kingdom of God through faith-filled storytelling. Don't forget to subscribe, follow, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who needs it. Your support helps these powerful voices reach even further. Until next time, keep reading, keep writing, keep praying, and keep walking boldly in your calling. God is still turning manuscripts into ministries.